Let's go live now to Bruce Wolpe. Of course, Bruce, visiting fellow at the US Studies Centre, and Bruce is in Melbourne today. Bruce, let's start right here with this story. You were listening to that interview. What is the US government doing?
Good morning, Tim and Janie, very much. What the U.S. government is doing is trying to force Mexico to deal and engage and ultimately prevail over the cartels. And Trump has talked for a long time throughout his presidency about a terrible situation at the border, whether it was out of control, and the violence associated with it and the drugs associated with it. So I think you'll see more drug enforcement action on the U.S. side. I think you'll see a lot of military and intelligence sharing with the Mexicans to encourage them to take the really hard business steps that need to be done to break the back of the cartels if that's at all possible.
All right, we're going to get through a lot of US politics, Bruce, and we're going to start with Michael Bloomberg. He's a 77-year-old billionaire, and he's come out saying that, well, if Biden doesn't run, he might be running in the 2020 Democratic candidates.
That's true. He is saying that, and what's really interesting is he thought about this in 2016 and decided not to run, and that's the context for what we're seeing today. Bloomberg really wants Trump defeated. In 2016, he was looking at the race between Hillary and Bernie Sanders, and if Sanders had moved into a prevailing position, I think Bloomberg would have then entered the race to beat him. And that's what he's doing now this year. He's seeing that Joe Biden is weaker than expected, there's no other centrist candidate stronger than expected, and that Elizabeth Warren, and Sanders is still in the race, but Elizabeth Warren is rising. And he believes Elizabeth Warren is bad for America, and so bad that she would be unable to beat Trump. So therefore, he's keeping the prospects of his candidacy alive, and that's what's really going on. Inside the Democratic Party, if he runs as a Democrat, well, we'll see where he goes. But there is the issue, is another billionaire, as you reported earlier, the answer to this problem? But if he runs as an independent, then he would split the anti-Trump vote, and that would help President Trump quite a lot. So that's what's going on in his political calculus as he looks at the landscape for 2020.
Bruce, just an update on the bushfires before we get back to the US. And of course, we've heard from Shane Fitzsimmons, the commissioner, that 100 homes have been lost, 3 people unaccounted for in New South Wales and Queensland, thankfully. No people unaccounted for right at the moment. So we will get you more information on the bushfire situation as it unfolds throughout the course of the morning. Getting back to the US, you mentioned Michael Bloomberg. He is another billionaire, but he's another ageing billionaire. He's a septuagenarian, closer to 80 than 70. It's an extraordinary thing at the minute.
It is. You really wonder where the generational breakthrough is going to come from. And underneath Biden and Harris and Warren and Bloomberg, there's no super competitive candidate. And I think that can frustrate a lot of younger voters in particular who really want to express themselves. So the Democrats are going to have to sort themselves out. And they will, I believe, in the early primaries coming. So keep your eye on Iowa, whether Pete Buttigieg really breaks through. Keep your eye on California and Super Tuesday, whether Kamala Harris can come back. Amy Klobuchar, senator from Wisconsin, has done an excellent job in the debates, and a lot of people are paying attention to her. But right now, you're right, Tim, it looks like a bunch of septuagenarians trying to run the country for the next 4 years.
Another big unfolding development this week, Kentucky. So Andy Beshear is another Democratic win. That's huge for Kentucky, also for Virginia, the first time in 20 years, a Democrat, Ralph Northam. But Mississippi held on to their Republic.
That's true, and Mississippi will stay Republican until the cows come home. But what you're seeing is a continuation of the trend from last year's election, in which Democrats won the suburbs of the cities and therefore took back voters who went for Trump in 2016. So that's why Virginia changed. That's why the Kentucky governor, who it did have, there were some local weaknesses in his candidacy, and that really hurt him. But that was a factor in his race as well. So the results give Democrats encouragement that their strategy is right, and they are expanding their base. But getting back to what we discussed earlier with Bloomberg and Harris and Warren and so forth, if the Democrats go hard left on a candidate, it makes them less competitive. And the Democrats winning are centrists. And so that's a really important factor, again, as the Democrats assess how they're going to take the White House back from Trump a year from now.
Bruce, we've had a modified conversation this morning, obviously, with the bushfire emergency. We haven't even got to the impeachment inquiry, but I have little doubt that we're going to have plenty of time to talk about that over the next few weeks.
That'll be fine, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce.